established Rich coming right back at you. And today we got to talk about Hernandez Govan being arrested again. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all. This is one of those stories where you look at the man and say, boy, what is you doing with your second chance? Hernandez Govan was just acquitted less than a year ago in one of the biggest murder cases Memphis has ever seen. He was accused of being connected to the Young Dolph case, and the jury said the state did not prove it. That means he walked out of that courtroom with something a lot of people never get. A second chance. A chance to disappear from the drama. And thank God every morning that he was not sitting in a prison cell for the rest of his life. But here we go again. Now he's back in court on harassment and stalking charges. After police say he threatened his ex-girlfriend, threatened to have her house shot up, and threatened to post explicit pictures of her online. That is not the behavior of a man who appreciates second chances. That sounds like a man who walked out of court thinking he got away with something. And I'm not saying he was guilty in the Dolph case. The court said not guilty, so we have to respect that legally. But there's a difference between a man walking out acting humble by how close he came to losing his life, and a man walking out like the world is supposed to fear him.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you reached a verdict?
Yes.
State of Tennessee versus Hernandez Govan, count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant Hernandez Govan not guilty in count 1 of the indictment. State of Tennessee versus Hernandez Govan, count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant Hernandez Govan not guilty in count 2 of the indictment. Ma'am?
Court's in session.
Ma'am? Ms. Johnson, is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you for your service this week. You've done exactly what the court.
That's the part I can't respect. That clip should remind everybody how serious this man's situation was. This was not some small case. This was Young Dolph.
Or so times we've probably seen it on Facebook. We know who that car belongs to. You've seen that car before. You can see that Memphis police are going in and out of Makeda's right now. We see homicide detectives. We see felony response on the scene. We see a lot of top brass from the Memphis Police Department on the scene, and it continues to grow. I don't know if you can hear it, but Southgate, pan down, pan down. You can see people are just hit with emotion here on this scene. A lot of the victim's family is on the other side of the tape on Joy Lane. Joy Lane. You can see a lot of the family, the sisters, I believe, of the victim right there at the barricade. A lot of these stores have been told to shut down. A lot of these stores have been told to shut down until further notice because it's growing.
This was a man who was loved in Memphis, a man who built his own lane, a man who was killed in broad daylight while going to a cookie shop. Govan's name was attached to that case in a way that will make most people reevaluate their whole life. If you survive that kind of legal storm, the smart move is to become boring. Go home, pay bills, drink water, cut grass, work a warehouse shift, do whatever you gotta do to keep your name out of the police reports. Because when you were just on trial in a case that big, every move after that is gonna be watched different. But some men are so addicted to the street energy that peace feels boring to them. They don't know how to just be a regular grown man. They don't know how to walk away from a woman without trying to control her. They don't know how to get older with dignity. So they keep reaching back for the same tough guy energy that should have been gone years ago. And that's what makes Hernandez Govan look pitiful in this situation. This man is almost 50 years old. At some point, the street dude character gets old. At some point, running around still trying to prove you dangerous starts looking less like power and more like a man who never developed the skill. That's why this is so sad. Because if these allegations are true, this is not a young hothead making a bad decision. This is a grown man who should know better, still acting like fear is a form of respect. Fear is not respect. Fear is what people feel when they don't trust you to be stable. According to police, This started after a money dispute with his ex-girlfriend. That right there tells you everything. A man almost 50 years old, fresh off one of the biggest cases you can imagine, and now his name is back in the news over alleged money dispute and threatening his ex-girlfriend. That does not sound like a man building a new life. The reports say he allegedly threatened to have her house shot up. Then after the police and the National Guard started monitoring the area, he allegedly texted her that the National Guard couldn't save her either. That is a wild thing to put in a message when you just walked away from a murder trial. That is not just immature. That is reckless to the point where you have to wonder if this man learned anything at all. Then you add the allegation that he threatened to post explicit content online. What is this, high school? That's a man trying to humiliate a woman because he can't control the situation. When a man starts using private moments as a weapon, that tells me he don't have control of himself. So he trying to control somebody else through fear. That's weak as hell. And it's especially weak as hell at his age.
New at 4, the man who was acquitted last year in the high-profile murder case of Memphis rapper Young Dolph is now facing new charges.
Hernandez Govan is charged in connection to allegations he threatened an ex-girlfriend last week. WREG's Drita Patterson with what happened in court and what's next.
Donning a red gel uniform, something you often see with those considered high profile, was Hernandez Govan Friday. 3 members with the Shelby County Detention Response Team, also known as DRT, a specially trained tactical unit, escorted the 46-year-old into court.
I'm acting on your charges, Mr. Govan.
It is here where he faced Judge Greg Gilbert, who informed him of what he's now facing following his arrest the day before.
You are charged with harassment and stalking. Each of those offenses is dangerous community.
What landed Govan in custody reportedly happened last week. Your news leaders were able to get a copy of the police report filed after Govan's ex-girlfriend called for help. The report summarizes what she alleged happened, causing her to, quote, fear for her safety and the safety of her child. His former girlfriend told police Govan made phone calls and texts threatening to post to social media explicit videos. It's also alleged he threatened to have someone shoot up her home. After officers and National Guard members reportedly checked the area, it's alleged Govan sent yet another message saying, quote, the National Guard can't save you. They can't be there forever. Well, Friday's arraignment did not take forever. In fact, it was over within a matter of minutes. But things are far from resolved as final directives were given.
You will be ordered to stay away from the alleged victim.
This was followed by the judge informing the accused bond was set at $4,000. Govan left the same way he came, flanked by extra security, headed back to lockup. Govan telling the court he could pay that $4,000 bond. The judge has since ordered him back to court Monday. We'll keep you updated on what happens next. Reporting for your news leader in downtown Memphis, Drita Patterson, WREG, News Channel 3.
And the judge told Govan if convicted of the 2 misdemeanors, he could be sentenced to just shy of 1 year in lockup.
Look how small this looks compared to what he just walked away from. A man beats a case that could have buried him under prison, then turns around and gets arrested on harassment and stalking charges because he allegedly could not leave his ex-girlfriend alone. That is embarrassing. And I know some of y'all gonna say it's just misdemeanors. Don't let the charge level fool you into ignoring the mindset. The charge may be small compared to the murder case, but the behavior behind it is the same kind of thinking that keeps a man locked in chaos. Threats, control, intimidation, trying to scare somebody instead of handling it like a man. That is the same old broken street logic, just showing up in a different situation. And this is why I say he looks like somebody who got away with murder, not somebody who was proven innocent and humbled by the experience. A truly humbled man would be moving different. He would have understood that the city still knows his name, that law enforcement still knows his face, and that any new incident is going to bring the Dolph case back into the conversation. But some people can't handle freedom because freedom requires discipline. That's where a lot of these older street dudes fall apart. They get too old to be young, but they never built enough to be grown. So they get stuck in the middle, still talking like they got a whole organization behind them, still moving like fierce currency. Why are you still auditioning for tough guy roles? At some point, a man has to ask himself what else he can do besides scare people. Can you build something? Can you lead something? Can you provide without threats? Can you handle a woman leaving without trying to destroy her? Can you make money without threats, fear, or street pressure? Those are the questions that matter when you become a grown-ass man. Because the culture he's still trying to live off of is passing him by. Young dudes are moving different now. And the old street myth don't hit the same when the man playing the role has gray in his beard and no visible plan in his life. That's why this story feels less like a shock and more like a reveal. It reveals how some people can walk out of court but still not walk out of the mindset that put them near the court in the first place. Now, to be fair, he has not been convicted of any new charges, but we can talk about what the allegations say if they are true. And if they are true, this is a bad look. It's bad because it was women involved. It's bad because of the threats. It's bad because of the history attached to his name. And it's bad because a man who should be moving like he got spared is still moving like he thinks the world is supposed to be scared of him. That ain't gangster. That's sad. And when you are Hernandez Govan, you don't have the luxury of moving like a regular person. Your name is already tied to one of the biggest rap murder cases in hip hop. So every new case is going to reopen that case in the public's mind. Every new threat is going to make people look back and say, maybe he did do that shit. That may not be fair legally, but the public don't work like a courtroom. In the public, people watch patterns. And this pattern does not make him look like a man who learned anything. So when I look at this story, I don't see a tough guy. I don't see a man people should fear. I see a sad, aging street figure who had a chance to go out quiet and still found his way back in the court over something so small. That's the entertaining part and the pathetic part at the same time. He survived the biggest stage of his life, then ended up back in front of a judge over texts, threats, and an ex-girlfriend. You can't make that make sense. If you get a second chance, you're supposed to move like you know what it costs. You're supposed to protect your freedom like it's fragile. You're supposed to remember that every day outside is a day you could have been inside. But some people don't appreciate freedom until they lose it again. And if Hernandez Govan keeps moving like this, he may find out that even small charges can become big problems when your name already carries that much weight. This should have been his quiet season. Instead, it's another headline. And that says more about him than anybody else. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.